Hey, welcome back to Ray of All Trades. We are working on a 2019 Honda Passport. With the scan tool and the meter, the battery was reading 11 volts after you shut it off. Alternator was charging, so I was getting about 13.5 or better from the alternator. So I know that the battery is bad. It's a 5-year-old battery now. So anyway, super easy to change. Just gonna come up here to this front plastic and just gently lift it off. They're just held in place by these little clips and springs. We're going to pull out these two plastic clips right here. So keep in mind, these are just plastic screws going into a plastic holder. So really all you're doing is just turning. So until they come out. All right, hold on to those because you don't want to lose those. This right here should just lift right off. Pull out those two clips so you can save them for later. And then from the air box, you should be able to just pull straight up. See how that came out? All right, now looking down at the battery. So here's our negative. Here's my positive side. And then here's the two hold downs. All we're gonna do is pull up on that clip. That pulls that out the way. We need to take off the two deep well 10 millimeters. We have two 10 millimeter clamps right here. So we're just gonna loosen up these and twist this back and forth and lift them off. I like pulling off the negative first. So, so that when I'm touching the positive, if I happen to hit frame or anything like that, I won't spark. So pull off the negative first so that the ground, or so the circuit won't complete. Grab a 10 millimeter deep well socket. Let's get the clamp off of here first. I like to keep the battery connected as long as possible, which is why I'm doing the clamp first and as much stuff as I can get out of the way ahead of time. Let's see, so I just loosened that one up a little bit and it kind of just fell out the way. All right, I want to take off the negative side first. Pull it out the way. Then I'm going to take off the positive side. Reason for doing that, if I touched metal right now with the positive side, I wouldn't complete the circuit unless I actually touch that part of the battery. So and then when I go to install it, I'm going to install it the exact opposite. I'm going to do a positive first and then negative. So let's pull that off. So this top cover should just pull right off of here. And then this battery should just lift right out. So negative facing forward, positive towards the back. Now is when you want to vacuum out that box. Make sure you didn't knock it around too much. Let's put a brand new AGM battery back in. Make sure that box is seated in there properly. Pull off the protective cap. Now let's clean up our terminals with the battery brush. These are really clean already. Obviously, I've pulled off the two protective caps already. Let's put the battery box cover back on. Make sure you don't get the cables pinched underneath it. Okay, we're going to do the positive side. Tighten it down until the cable stops wiggling back and forth. You notice I'm not giving it a whole lot of pressure. All right, now we're going to do our negative side. It's normal to see a little bit of a spark when you do this. It's basically you got a whole lot of modules inside the car that are trying to turn back on right now. Wiggle that connector so that the connector is below the surface of this post. If you notice, I had to push down a little bit to get that to seat down. All right, let's put our bracket back on. So let's see if I can show you. There's a hole in the bottom of the box down here at the bottom of this rod that goes through. And then we're going to do the same exact thing on this side. I'm just going to push it through just like that. And once we do that, we're going to push down on there. Obviously, if you've done this far, I don't have to tell you how to check voltage and stuff, but if you need to know, positive here, negative here, you can check it when it's in the non-running state. You should be about 12.6 volts. When it's in the running state, if the alternator's producing properly, it'll be somewhere between 13.5, 13.6, and 14.5. Alternators, depending on the car, will go into what's called a full field when they first start up. So it's not uncommon for the first minute or so to see that alternator putting out over 14 volts. And then as the car warms up, it'll turn itself back down. And then some cars, like the GM, has something, and I just found out about this. The GM cars have something in them. You don't have to over tighten these. It's just enough to hold that box in place. The GMs have something called battery conservation, I think it is. And its function is to turn the alternator off when it doesn't need it or when it doesn't think it needs it. And that floored me. I had no idea. My brother-in-law told me about that. Thanks, Chris. So anyway, we're done putting the box in. Like I said, if you wanted to check voltage, you could do that. Push it right back on this intake right here. Drop it down on top of this clamp. I'm going to drop in my 2 snap holders. And most people will just shove these in. I kind of want them to last as long as possible. So I don't want to, be aggressive with it, but you literally could just push this in and it'll attach. So I just want to put it in gently with my fingers, and then I'm going to use the screwdriver probably to just get it just to the top surface, because I really don't want this thing to strip out. I'm literally just spinning it in until it just touches. I'm just going to take this, line up the pins that it came out of, and snap it all back together. Try to find at least one that you can see, and then the rest of them will start working their way into place. You notice I had to tuck this around. Give it a little upward pressure to know that you got it fastened. You're good to go. Hope y'all got something out of the video. Really appreciate you hanging out. I'll catch you guys on the next one.